I'm saying? Like, you fight a bum, you get bum pay. I'm thinking about right now, like, yo, I need this check. So I got in the fight, and fight bell rung, and he came out aggressive. I was boxing, and I just all of a sudden took a knee. I didn't really get hit with nothing. I just quit. And that happened to me like 2 or 3 times, and then I was like, I never do it again. I never play myself like that again. If I could go back, I would take all those times back and always fight like a champion. Okay. I'm not ashamed of anything I've ever done in the ring. You know what I'm saying? I really lived this my whole life from 10 years old to now. That's 33 years of boxing experience, good, bad, up and down, you know what I'm saying? So I come from a town called Wilson, North Carolina, right? So this is really how the story goes. When I seen the little building I got, I know nobody could have imagined that I could put a boxing gym in it, right? But it literally, the minute I saw it, I was like, yo, this is perfect. I was like, it got the upstairs. I'm gonna put my banner right here. I'm gonna put my ring right. Like, I saw it. Nobody else would have ever probably thought that I could make that into a boxing gym. Yeah. Sometimes you just can see things with a vision.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect. Honestly, I think for me, the space, and as far as business goes, like me personally, if I could do it, because I've had one business prior, I think that you should, and I'm sure people will tell you this, you're supposed to let your business outgrow itself. Like, let the need and demand overflux so much that you're like, all right, now I need a space.
Right.
Just going and getting something bigger for the sake of it, that's an ego thing, because you want it to look a certain way, and now your overhead is up. Business-wise, it really don't make sense. Like, where you're at makes perfect sense. You max that joint out until it's overflowing and spilling out, and then you're like, okay, we need something else. But other than that, so like, what would you?
God willing, that's the way we hit it, because you know, like, man, I love it, man. It's beautiful over there. The gym is beautiful. I had a lot of help getting it together. You know what I'm saying? A lot of help with people, you know, chipping in and making things move for Magnificent Clay Boxing. So definitely, man, we're just trying to let people in the area know who we are and what we are about, which is, you know, really building fighters, not even just fighters, but building young men and young women, you know what I'm saying, to be physically strong, mentally strong, and you know, just get through this tough day-to-day life struggle. Because, you know, life in itself, especially coming up for young kids, can be a pretty tough ball field to play in. So teaching kids how to defend themselves, protect themselves goes a long way, and, you know what I'm saying, helping them be more mentally strong and physically strong and be able to prepare and, you know, defend themselves against the things they come against in the day-to-day.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's jump into it. So welcome back to the Awakened Voidant. Today's episode, I believe, is number 55. Today we have with us a special guest, someone I met recently, Martinus Clay, the owner of MCB Boxing on North Broad Street.
Yeah, North Broad Street.
What's the actual address? 203 North?
203 North Broad Street, Suite 1, and the building and the parking and everything is in the rear of the building. When you're riding down Broad Street, you see the, what is it, the Italian ice place?
Yeah, Rita's.
Rita's across the street, and we're over right behind it in the little shopping center area. When you come behind it, you'll see the MCB, the Magnificent Clay Boxing logo, and that's where we at. We're tucked into a little corner right in the back. Perfect for a fighter.
Yeah, it's next to Yanni's, right?
It's Yanni's Plaza. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If you see the coffee shop, and that's where we at. We right behind there.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. So Martinus Clay, former professional boxer and current owner of MCB Boxing, Magnificent Clay Boxing, correct?
That's right.
In Lansdale. So thanks for coming in, bro. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You having me.
So let's see where we're gonna start off. I'm gonna start off with just what I know about you, or what I learned about you. First off, when I met you, you told me that you were a professional boxer. And for me, I'm like, okay, that's cool. You know, because I didn't know the name, you know, right off the top. But I went and watched one of your videos, Martinus Clay versus, is his name Matt?
Yeah, Matt Vander.
Matt Vander? Okay, Matt Vander. So those of you that, you know, if you want to get to know who he is, go check out Martinus Clay versus Matt Vander. It's a fight. It'll let you know, I think, for me, it told me everything that I needed to know, or what I could ascertain at least through, through that fight, that you were actually him, and that you were that dude, and
I
that you did it,
appreciate that.
and that you do it for sure.
I
So
appreciate that.
that fight, no bullshit, that fight gave me the chills. Something about it, I really don't know what it was about it, honestly, but just watching it, I'm like, damn, it's just something about seeing the work, because like the life is based on work, like all the
Yeah,
moments that you put in, all the experience
yeah.
that you have, and to see someone that do the work, to be able to do it at that level, you just feel something,
It was. Believe it or not, that was one of probably to me. I think that might be the highlight of my career in big moments. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It was special to me because at the time I got the call, I wasn't supposed to. They probably thought this guy was gonna knock me out in like one round.
Mm-hmm.
He was like 34-1. I had like a 50-50 record. I was like 12-11,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And this was a chance for me to like put my skills on deck. And it's a lot of untold stuff behind that story, which makes that the highlight of my career. And if I could tell you, I elaborate on it a little bit.
Yeah, please do.
At the time I got this fight, I was going through the most in my personal life. Bills needed to be paid. I didn't have certain things, and things were just. Matter of fact, I had just fought a fight months before that. That you know what I'm saying, where I thought I was going to do my thing, and it didn't work out. And at this time, I just needed this fight. They called me like last minute. I had a few weeks to prepare, maybe 2-3 weeks to prepare for the fight. And at the time, I wasn't really in the gym. I
Okay.
had a beef with the guy that used to train me, and I wasn't really in the gym. But I had my brother and my best friend, and I was like, yo, I need y'all to work with me and come to me with this fight. So the story behind this fight is I got this fight, and I called on my brother and my best friend. You'll see him on the video
Mm-hmm.
in the corner with me. Neither one of these guys really know boxing on a boxing training level.
Shout out to them then, because they held the shit down.
It was my brother, my best friend. They never worked the fight, never worked the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Me, my brother, my best friend, got on the train and rode up to New York, right? We rode up to New York, just us, by ourselves. And the whole time I was worried, like, yo, this guy is 34-1, it's on TV. It was a TV fight. I was worried. But they held me down. They just kept telling me, like, you built for this. You do this all day, every day. And we went in there, and that was one of the best fights of my life. I just let everything go, and because it was my brother and my best friend, I was like, I felt like I was back at the gym, and I just round after the round, they was just giving me what I needed. They was telling me what I needed to hear, and I was able to perform to me at my best. And this was short notice fight. I didn't have time to prepare. I wasn't in the gym, but people really got to see, and even the commentators was telling people during the fight, like, I don't know why his record is like this, but this guy can really fight. You know what I'm saying? And it just, to me, it defined who I was, because nobody knew the struggle behind what was going on but me and my brothers. Like, I know he had his camp there, his trainers. He probably had been in camp for a month or two before the fight. They called little old Clay in just to be an opponent. And that night, I really showed up. So I really looked to that fight, you know what I'm saying, as one moment where I was able to prove what my pedigree was, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been fighting the best fighters my whole career anyway. But sometimes, you know what I'm saying, the mental overcome the physical, and you show up and you don't show the best of your ability. So that was one night where I really was hitting on all cylinders. So I really looked at that. And I'm glad you said it gave you chills, because when I look at it, that's what it do for me. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I be looking at it, I be like, wow, if I had fought like this every night, I could be rich right now. You know what I'm saying?
You him, but that's interesting, right? Just like, and that's what we're gonna talk about, right? How like you could be him, and if things just don't go absolutely perfect, or you miss an opportunity here, or the politics of the situation don't favor you, You just miss it just by a little bit, but you're him. Like you were him. When I see you, I'm like, for me, no cap again. Broner, Mayweather, you know, because I think a lot of us, we probably
Look
emulate
to
each other
those
because we
guys.
look like each other, right? You know, and we have some of the same physical attributes, speed, power, quickness, you know, all that stuff. To me, that's what I saw, you know, as a casual fan watching that had been watching some boxing. And you fought that fight. You fought, where was that fight at?
New York. That was in
Okay.
New York.
Was that MSG or no?
No, it
Okay.
was.
A smaller venue.
I forget the venue it was. But it was definitely in New York. It was in Manhattan somewhere.
Okay.
I don't,
Roberto Duran was there though, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Duran was there, so
It
it
was a
wasn't like,
lot of big people in the
yeah.
building. It was an ESPN fight. They was really expecting this guy to wipe me off the map, and like I don't think they could believe it until they saw it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It was kind of one of them. Wow, like we ain't expect this tonight.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they gave it to me because I've been in that situation
Mm.
and hear the cars call and they be like, da, 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 and I was like, wow. So that's why if you look at the video, I was like jumping and I
Yeah.
was so hyped because I expected them to 100% rob me because
Yeah.
it's been done so many times before.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow. But it definitely gives me chills too because I really could have been there every time, but the politics of the sport kind of broke me down, and you know I became, as they say, a journeyman fighter or a opponent. You know what I'm saying, for some of the better fighters. But you know I don't make no excuses or complain about where I stand in boxing because the things that I went through is why I am the way I am now. You know what I'm saying? I had to take the hard road. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, to be healthy, not have any brain damage, not be slurring my speech. I have 47 professional fights. I had probably 80 amateur fights. That's a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? To be healthy, to be strong. I can still get in there and box with these guys and, you know, train my fighters. I'm proud to be here. And I got to experience it. So it gives me a heads up for all the fighters that's coming behind me, the ones I train. Like I didn't know at the time what to do to be successful in the business, but I do now. So anybody that comes under me, I got a head start for them. Like, look, we're gonna get in shape, we're gonna do the work right here, and then we're gonna get with the right people and we're gonna maneuver like this so we could be a successful fighter and not be an opponent or somebody that they just call to get that work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got the blueprint.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you paid the shit and you went the route.
I did that.
Yeah, you was him, absolutely. Like I know we look to put labels on ourselves, you know, and the outside people to try to, you know, categorize something, all that journeyman shit. I don't know, bro. You was him.
I
You know what I
appreciate
mean? Like
it.
no bullshit.
I appreciate
I seen it, I was like, damn. And you were right, the announcers, they were definitely supportive. Like I'm glad that you looked to that moment as a pivotal point in your career because when I experienced it, I wanted to ask you if you wanted to pick a fight that would highlight who you are. What would that be? So just amazing that ended up being the one.
Definitely the one, man. Because
Punches, you was
even in the commentation, man, when you look at fights, if you know boxing, so it's always an A side and a B side. You know what I'm saying, when they get in the ring. And if you listen to the commentation in boxing matches, they commentate in favor of the A side most of the time. But that particular night, I was on so much that they changed. They came in favor of the A side, and then they started showing the B side so much love, which was me. They was showing love. They couldn't help it. Like the performance spoke volumes, and I was just proud to be able to reach that point in my fight career because you know what I'm saying. Some people go through their whole career and never have a good night. You know what I'm saying? You know, like boxing is different. Everybody not the Mayweathers and you know the guys you see at the top of the game. There's a lot of fighters that make up the boxing business that never have a good night. You know what I'm saying? They might win some local fights, but to me, that wasn't really a local fight. I've been in a lot of local fights, but there was, you know, TV fight, you know, people was watching, you know what I'm saying? It was a chance to really show and improve. You know what I'm saying? That was what it was for me. So that's why I always look to that one because, you know, I had some other good nights, but people didn't see it. Like if I could get all the fights I had and be able to put them on tape, even in the losses, I had some real good moments, you know what I'm saying? But people never saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So the average fan looks at the record and they say, well, this guy couldn't fight. He this, that, and the third.
Hella wrong.
But if you was to look inside the record, like look inside the numbers, you would see that every opponent I ever faced, and this is no cap, was either an undefeated fighter or maybe lost 1 or 2 fights because they didn't call me for that. They called me to give people work that was at the top of the game. They knew I could fight, but they knew I didn't have the proper management and protection around me to keep me from putting myself into situations where I couldn't be successful.
Yeah, they knew you were talented enough to put on a good exhibition, for the eyewitness, but they knew that you didn't have the pieces around you to make you a
Right.
complete fighter, to make you win.
Right.
Because if you had that, they probably not calling you at all.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, because you don't watch, buddy.
I tell some people
What you
sometimes,
did.
I think I learned to be an opponent. If I could tell you, if I could describe it. So what that means is like, so I had nights where I went out and looked great, right? Look great, right? And would win the fight and wouldn't get a call for a while. You know what I'm saying? I looked too good, and then I could go out and I could look just good enough to lose, or I've never really been beat up in a fight because I never got hit a lot. I was tight on my defense, so I was hit, not be hit. The way people would beat me would be mentally if I didn't show up prepared to fight, or if I didn't do enough. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I kind of say I learned to be an opponent. I would come to the fight, and I know if I did just enough to lose, I would get a quick turnaround call. Like I didn't have like
I got you.
you know what I'm
you're
saying?
Yeah.
For me, I didn't have people that would get me fights. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a guy that was gonna go and say, we got Clay, I need an opponent for Clay. I was the opponent. So when I would lose a close fight, I would get a call like a couple of weeks later. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it again. And in my situation, coming up as a young kid from poverty or whatever, I needed the money. So for me to survive, I was taking every fight. Like I never turned down a fight. So I would take this fight, that fight, and the next fight. So I kind of learned how to be an opponent. I knew I could fight. I knew I show up, it's gonna be a good show. But I also knew that coming into the situation that my chances of winning are slim because they want me to be the opponent. But mentally, that's what made me start kind of losing fights because I took that mindset into the fight.
Yeah.
Like before the fight even start, I know the situation, I know what I'm coming into. So when I get in the fight, whereas if I wasn't expected to be the opponent, I would be at the top of my game and hungry and fighting it out to the you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you'd be moving different.
But the mental aspect of knowing what I'm coming into, when something wrong happens in the fight, it kind of like weighs on me and I kind of dwindle.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of like how I learned to be an opponent. Like I would go in and I would start off, and then every bad moment in the fight would break me down because mentally I already knew that even if the only way I'm gonna win the fight, I'm gonna knock him out. You know what I'm saying? If not, it's probably gonna go the other way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I kind of learned like, okay, well, win, lose, or draw, I'm gonna put on a decent fight, and it don't mean as much to me to get the W.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I learned to be an opponent. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, well, at some point, I done lost fights anyway. I can't win them all. Now I need to get this check.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's kind of where.
No, I think you explained that perfectly. Basically, I mean, to sum it up, that process becomes you. You know, that the repetition nature of what you were doing when you stepped in there just to come to put on a show as opposed to winning.
Yeah, it really happened, and I had a few opportunities where, like I said, that's why mental is so much more important than the physical aspect in boxing, because really all the fights I lost, I beat myself mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like things that was going on before the fight, not having anything to do with boxing. I would already know in my head that I probably wasn't going to win. But when I felt good, like I really been in the gym and been training hard, regardless of who I was training with, whatever, I knew I was in shape, I felt good. And mentally I could go in and perform. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how it would work for me. If I was training in shape, then mentally I'd be prepared like for war.
Yeah.
So there was the New York night, the Vanna night. I was prepared for war. Even though it was short notice, I was prepared for war because mentally I was in shape. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I
That
might not be in the best physical shape, but mentally I was in shape.
Yeah, and that moment, the way you described the mental aspect of it, it sounded like because you had gone through so much to that point in the journey, you had freed yourself or were freed from the
Hmm.
expectations of anything. So in the
Yeah.
moment, you were just
It,
in
it,
there free, fight,
it's
like a
it's
kid in there.
really real, man. I think that's what I got better after that too with dealing with it because I used to fight against myself mentally a lot
Hmm.
in the midst of fights. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing because I wasn't to me I wasn't supposed to be a loser in boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like my godfather James Jones trained me as a little kid, and I had a condition trainer, Skip Crumpler. He used to take me to my fight, so I had a really good trainer right when I was a young amateur, and I had a guy that would take me to fights. I made it to the highest level. I was a national level fighter. You know what I'm saying? So I had potential in boxing. It's just that the people that were around me that could have guided me there weren't there when it was time for me to take off and do what I needed to do.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's weird. It's crazy when I think back. Like I had good amateur pedigree. Like I had a really good trainer, man. This guy James Jones kind of. If I could just talk about this is
yeah,
more
absolutely.
than boxing. I probably changed the subject, but
Wow.
I did want to get on this. So when I was like a little kid, right? I come from a town called Wilson, North Carolina, right? So this is really how the story goes. It's a tough little town, and the neighborhood I lived in was called Five Points, right? So it's a lot of kids in the neighborhood, tough kids in the neighborhood. And one day, Jim moved into the neighborhood. It was called Champs, and so all us little kids used to walk the block and try to go in the gym, but they wouldn't let nothing but pros train in the gym. So we would go try to go in the gym. Then one day, they let us all come in the gym, right? So they let us come in the gym, and we started training. Week go by, two of the kids fall off. Next week, two of the kids fall off. So month or so go by, I'm the only kid left in the gym, right? It used to be this guy Mo in the gym. I would come to the gym every day. He'd give me like $5, tell me to go get a hot dog and a juice, da, da, da. Just story about the gym.
Hmm.
And then it was a guy in the gym named James, right? This guy James, he was the coolest guy to me at the time that I had ever seen. Had a Cadillac, big Cadillac, shiny rims, always smell good, always look like $1 million, right? You know what I'm saying? This guy in the gym, he was like one of the owners of the gym. So one day he saw me hitting the bag and he was like, what's your name? I told him my name. He was like, you come back to the gym tomorrow and I'm gonna work with you. I came back to the gym and he started working with me, right? He started working with me every day. Not only did he start working with me, like I said, he to me he was a superstar. Big Cadillac, nice clothes. He started like changing my life, taking care of me. Like I come to the gym, he be like, "You got some money?" I be like, "Nah." He be like, "Take this, put it in your pocket." Like before then, I ain't have nice sneakers and you know what I'm saying, all these things. This is life for me. So he would do these things for me, but he was also training me as a kid like I was an adult. Just me and him. He would take me home, pick me up. He showed me life. So this guy is one of the most important parts of my career. You know what I'm saying? James trained me and prepared me life wise. He bought me cars, clothes, sent me shopping. He flew me out like we was 14, 15 going to national fights. It was guys driving 18, 20 hours to get to the fight. James be like, hey, put my boy on the plane,
Hmm.
fly me over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I went to Colorado Springs to the US championships. A friend of mine, we from Carolina. I'm like, how long it take you to get to the fight? He like, 24 hours we had to drive. I'm like, oh, I flew over here.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? And I was a kid, so this how he changed my life. He gave me that pedigree. He sent me around, but he could never come to the fights. So he was seeing my condition guy with me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I became a really good fighter in the amateurs because he really trained me. He was a really good trainer, you know what I'm saying? And it's just that when I turned pro, he had went away, you know what I'm saying? He had, it's
Yeah.
real life.
Yeah.
So he went away.
Sit down for a minute.
Yeah, he had to
I
go
got
sit down for a minute. And the wrong people got a hold of me, you know what I'm saying? And I made a mistake early in my career. My second fight, I fought an 8-0 guy. And it was just a bad fight because I was dealing with some people that I didn't know, wasn't familiar with, and I lost the fight. Not only did I lose the fight, like it was a swing ESPN bout, meaning that I could fight on TV, I could not. I sit in the dressing room for 6 hours with my hands wrapped, and I fought at midnight, at 12:30 at midnight, with my hands numb. I couldn't feel my hands.
Damn.
So I lost the fight, and after that fight, I went back home to Carolina and ran off wins. But this just to tell you about a little back history of why I could fight on the level I was fighting on. I was really a national level amateur fighter, but I didn't have the right people around me to turn me, once I turned pro, to guide me. So I was kind of on my own. I had these fights, and then they saw that I could fight and didn't have people around me, and they would call me because they knew I could fight, but they knew that they could get the result they wanted. And that's how I ended up becoming like an opponent. But really early in boxing, like I had a really good dude that made things great for me. Like from the time I was like 10 years old to about 18 years old, he really changed my whole entire life. And I don't want to leave him out of this story about me and boxing because, you know, you should give respect where it's due. And if not for James Jones and also Skip Crumpler, like a lot of people give Skip bad rep, but Skip Crumpler was a good dude. He took me to all my fights, even as a pro. When I first was fighting as a pro, he used to take me around the fights. They used to call Skip, and Skip would be like, hey, Clay, they got this fight for you. You know what I'm saying? Can you make the weight? I'd be like, yeah, win the fight. Such and such and such. Let's do it. And me and Skip would go fight. You know what I'm saying? So I got to show respect to James Jones and Skip Crumpler. You know what I'm saying? Because them my mans, if it was no Skip and James, there would be no Martinus. You know what I'm saying? So even though I'm here now, those guys played a major part. And believe it or not, if James Jones didn't ever go away, I'd probably been champion of the world. Like, for real. Like, this. Some people do something for you, like when he was around, I was unstoppable. You understand? Like just him, his presence, because he taught me the game. Not only the boxing game, he taught me the game. So when he was around, I couldn't lose. But he was too busy. So he couldn't be around when I fought.
Yeah.
But he damn sure prepared me though. So that's just a little backstory on what really made me a fighter, you know what I'm saying? Going in that gym when I was a young boy and watching all the other kids that were so tough in the streets, like these the bullies, you know what I'm saying? We all went together. They faded away, you know what I'm saying? And I had the discipline to keep going and then come along to meet my guy James, and he really changed things for me. So that's why I stuck with boxing, because when everybody else would wasn't paying attention, my man James was on it, and he was like, yo, you got something. He saw something in me, and he put into me, so I was able to keep going. Like even without him, I was able to fight the way I fought in those certain situations, because he put like all of that, like he the one started that, you know what I'm saying?
Spark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the spark in that. Like I took it where I took it, but he was definitely the spark in that. So that's just to put a little back history on how I got started in boxing and why I had a little bit of a skill to do what I was doing.
Yeah, and the drive. I appreciate you sharing that. I wanted to ask you, growing up, did you have a father in home?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I come from, 2-parent home. My father was a pastor, actually. It's a lot to it now.
Shout
My
out, Pop.
father was a pastor. I'm a preacher's kid. I grew up in the church. I played the keyboard. I played the drums.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The whole thing with my dad, like I love my dad to death, but the reason why probably James get talked about more than him is because my dad had the church. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And church was a little more important at the time than I was. So my endeavors didn't get noticed as much as what had to go on in church. You know what I'm saying? He was definitely there though. Nah, my mom, my dad, I love them deaf, and they both was always present in my life. I ain't never had to want for nothing, no shelter, nothing like that. But you know, I talk about James because when it comes to boxing and certain things that shaped me, he got that. You know what I'm saying? My dad was, he was that guy though. Like that's where my spiritual background come from. You know what I'm saying? Like probably my street knowledge and my fight knowledge that come from James. My spiritual background that comes from my father. He, you know, he's a pastor. He was always in the word, and he taught me right from wrong. And probably that's why I stuck with boxing when others didn't, because they didn't have the discipline. They had the heart. They was tough enough, but they ain't had the discipline. But by me coming from a home where my father and my mother was in church, and you know what I'm saying, that's how they raised us. Like, nah, for real, till I was a certain age, we weren't listening to soul music or rap music in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had discipline. So when it came to boxing, I was able to do the tough part, and then I was able to have the discipline to keep sticking with it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, my dad was definitely there in the house. My dad's still kicking it. You know what I'm saying? My mom's still kicking it. I got a great mom, Gary Clay, my dad, my mom, Pamela Clay. They both great. I don't take nothing from them.
Shout out mom and pop.
Yeah, definitely. They paved the way for me. Like I said, I just be talking James when it come to boxing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's all. But yeah, they was definitely big part of young Clay life.
Yeah, no, I was just asking because I was curious, because a lot of times on this show we talk about the presence and we speak to mentorship. So it sounded like in the moments like his presence was extremely impactful, and that he may have been a bit of a mentor, not a bit of, but he was one of your mentors in life.
Definitely.
And that, you know, his support, you know, helped and guided you and molded you. And I think it's important that sometimes we think that, you know, that it's just the ones closest to us, but a lot of the times we're more influenced by the people outside of the home.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
definitely
you got to be
say
real
that.
careful where your people are around and who they're with, spending time with, because
That's true.
a lot of the time is spent with people other than you. Like the core or the morals come from the home, but all the other shit is really going on outside.
It
you know what I
really
mean?
is. That's it. That's what was happening with me. Like man, like I don't get to tell the story all the time. So let me give you the story.
Please.
Like not only that, yo, so I was a pretty good athlete in general, right? I played football, basketball, and I boxed, right? So I was pretty good in all of them. But you know, they team sports. The other sports are team sports, you know what I'm saying? So I was good, but I wasn't big enough. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I ended up choosing boxing. But if I could tell you also a little bit about the history, you know what I'm saying? So when I turned 18, 19, whereas and I really probably shouldn't even been turning pro yet. I turned pro because I had to make money to feed my child. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big part of my story too, as to why I had to take so many fights and so many bad fights. Because to me, I felt I could fight, and it wasn't really about winning or losing. It was about making the money to feed my family. I had like a lot of responsibilities, and I was willing to fight anybody at any time as long as the money was right, which it won't right, but to me, ain't no better. It was great.
It was in the moment.
Yeah. So that's a big part as well. Like I was going young, and I like even when I was fighting, like you know, I didn't take the fights that were lower level because, well, for one, they didn't really want to give me those because I would have beat anybody at a lower level. But also the money, you know what I'm saying? Like you fight a bum, you get bum pay. You know what I'm saying? But if you fight the best guy, then guess what? You get
I
the
got
best
you.
pay.
I got you.
Only problem with that was I was fighting the best guys before they reached the top. They name, you know what I'm saying? So whereas and if I fight, like even the Andre Berto fight, I made good money for the Berto fight, right? But if I fight him 2 years after the time I fight him, I might
It's different.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot more.
Yeah, your bag and your recognition.
Yeah, you get
different.
what I'm saying? So that's the thing. This funny thing about the boxing business, man. It's got a lot of politics to it and different ways that it flow and goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you find out about life. You know, I'm sure you heard him. You know who Joe Rogan is?
I heard the name, but I don't know, like, you know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
I'm glad that you don't know who he
Yeah.
is because he's just a popular podcaster out there in
Okay.
the world.
Yeah,
MMA
I know.
commentator.
I know. That's what I'm saying. See, I'm big on, like, I might know and don't know. That's probably
Yeah.
got something to do
No.
with boxing.
Yeah, it's great that you don't know that because he's significant to most other people, but you're just out here living your life doing
Hmm.
you and you barely even know who he is. But
Yeah.
he always says the most significant thing in a fighter's life is the people that end up being around him. Like a great fighter surrounded by the wrong people, the chances of that fighter ending up in a not good situation,
Hmm.
100%.
That's
It's
definitely
all
true,
about the people that be around you. Some of the
bro.
best fighters have been surrounded by some of the worst people,
And
and it just tanks.
it takes
Yeah.
that's the real truth, man. Because you gotta have a team.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that. I
Mm-hmm.
thought I turned pro in, I think, 2001. Um, I thought it was like the amateurs, right? Even though now it's politics in the amateurs, like it's a lot of politics in general. But I thought it was like the amateurs. I thought you show up and the best man win. You know what I'm saying? That's how it go. Like, I didn't even know it was an A side and the B side till I was like 10 fights into the
Yeah.
game. You know what I'm saying? I ain't
10
know.
fights deep into the B side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I didn't know it was a B side. And really, my first 10 fights, I won like 8 of them, 9 of them. Yeah, I won 8 of them.
Can I ask you a quick question? Once you did realize that you were the B side fighter and that you had possibly been being used up to that point, how'd you feel about that? Or how do you feel about it now? Not that it matters
So
currently, but or was the
I don't
knowledge
know.
worthwhile?
It just, I don't know, really. So so this what happened for me. So I didn't understand it in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I really figured it out, I said I was so far gone that that's kind of how it got worse for me, because once I figured out I was being used, I was like, I'm not gonna let anybody use me other than myself.
Mm-hmm.
So now, where a guy would call me and say, I could get you this fight, or we got this fight, they had to call me. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I cut out the middleman.
Yeah,
So in a way, it made me feel a type of way, but in another way, I was feeding my family. So at that point, I didn't really care.
I
You know what
got
I'm
you.
saying?
Yeah.
It was like, I knew I was getting into. It's the fight game. You
Mm-hmm.
can win, you can lose. But by the time I really figured it out, I didn't care. I just wanted to take control of the situation so I wouldn't get used. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
So it
By
did
other
empower
people.
you a bit.
Yeah, it
Okay.
did. And it made me understand what I was fighting for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really didn't know I was getting taken advantage of until certain things happened. I got a couple of calls for fight, and then I got a couple of calls from other people for the same fight, and the numbers was different. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah.
how that work? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Everybody
So
just trying to get to the bag and make the
yeah,
match.
like, man, how the numbers different? So they offer this much this time, but the other guy offered this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I started seeing that, and then I was like, well, if it's like that, then I might as well just don't deal with no middleman. You call me direct. Have the manager call me direct. So it empowered me to take control over my own situation. But I didn't know the business. So even though I could control my own situation, I'm only controlling how much money I can make,
Yeah.
which is not the most money,
Yeah.
because I'm not in this position to know what I deserve
Mm-hmm.
business wise.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
or how to structure it to make
Negotiate it.
sure that you can
Yeah.
do better on
Yeah,
as you're
negotiate
leveling
it.
up. Yeah,
Right,
like to
right.
use yourself. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess that's where managers and all that stuff do play some sort of role
The
as far as
most
getting
important.
some sort of knowledge
The
about the game
most.
prior to. Because it seems like a lot of them do that. Like the Mayweathers and all of
Hmm.
them. First they come in, you might get jerked a little bit,
Hmm.
learn the game hard, take a few knocks, and then they go off, take what they
Yeah,
learn, and build their own empire with it.
Mayweather one of the smartest to ever do it, man. Because he would, but everybody can't beat Mayweather. Let me say that he was the most skilled. To me, one of the most skilled to ever do it. Like, people hate on Mayweather, but that's
Haters.
because, yeah, they just haters. They don't know. Like, yo, he was so hard. He had the best defense in the game and the best boxing IQ
Mm-hmm.
in the game. Like, one thing that is tough to do in boxing that he does very well is to focus and stay focused for round after round and make the adjustments. And he's one of the quickest at making adjustments and keeping his focus. Like, most guys go into a boxing match and everybody start off sharp for 2 or 3 rounds, right? And then in the fourth and fifth round, they settle into the fight, and then that's when you get war. You get the back and forth banging, and you know what I'm saying.
Mm,
So that's why they hate Mayweather, because he was so focused that he knew better.
yeah.
I don't gotta do that. I'm faster than you. I'm sharper than you. I'm gonna just walk you around the ring and pop shot you here, pop shot you there. I ain't gonna take no punishment, no damage. So he was the smartest in the ring, and then he was the smartest outside of the ring, because what he understood was he was the best, and that he was gonna make money regardless. So he bought his own self out of his contract. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? He spent the money to buy himself out of his contract so he could be his own boss. And it worked for him. And he changed the game, because a lot of these young fighters are kind of trying to take his blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody got to start somewhere. You got to get somebody to get you out there. But once they finish that first contract, you know what I'm saying, they trying to take a little bit more control and be able to get to the bag without the middleman so much. So he paid the way for some of these young guys you see now is trying to do the same thing. The Terrence Crawfords and guys like that, Javante Davis is
Mm-hmm.
they trying to make those same moves. You know what I'm saying, and do those same things.
Yeah, different stages of the journey. I could see that. Like you might need someone to open the door for you, but once you get in and you get a seat at the table, you get to eating a little bit, and then we can go fix our own meal over here. Like
That's
you got
it's
what you
like
got
that.
off me for now.
Yeah.
Congratulations, thank you. The relationship hopefully is reciprocal, but after that, like
It's
yeah, I got
almost
to
like
go.
the sacrifice you gotta take. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? You just gotta really be there in order to, once that first contract is up, as long as you capable of doing what you say, then you can move on. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
But he definitely showed a lot of these young fighters how to do that, and get to that bag and make sure that we getting taken care of. Because boxing, people love to see people get beat up, but they don't understand like the behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? People getting beat up and risking their lives, and they not making a lot of money. We ain't getting no health plan. We ain't got no health plans. Like, you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Boxers don't got no 401k,
yeah, yeah.
no health benefits. You know what I'm saying? So if we go in there, you know what I'm saying, what we make is what we make. That's it for us, you know what I'm saying? So if we go in there and we get hurt physically, we get damaged, and we don't make a lot of money, we gotta deal with it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's crazy. Boxing is a crazy business, and it's a big risk involved. That's why it's good that guys are starting to be able to make the money that they should be able to make, because it's a lot involved. Like most fighters don't make a lot of money in boxing. Like, even, other than the Mayweathers, the Tysons, the Holyfields, the guys that be champions, they make money. But the guys that make up boxing don't make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
We put the work in, but for real, unless you're a notarized fighter, you're not bringing home hundred thousands, and you know what I'm saying?
That part of the game right there, though, I think has helped change it. The fact that the notoriety is what brings the bag, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
that people, I've never done it, but it seems like the blueprint has been written outside of like Mayweather. He's different because he's an anomaly. Like, not only is he notoriety at the highest, but he's also great too. So that's
Mm-hmm.
like a
Mm-hmm.
different person. But some of these other people with lesser skills, I ain't gonna name no names,
I
but
know what you're
but
talking
they
about.
still have managed to get a bag. It's just simply selling like notoriety and
Mm-hmm.
fame and
Yeah.
influence and shit
Yeah,
like that. You know
it's
what I mean?
changed the game. It's really good though,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you know boxing is war, and I mean, how many times can you go into war unscathed? You know what I'm saying? So think how good it is for these guys to be able to make money on content and
Hmm.
different things outside of the ring, and then that makes it so they don't have to fight so much, or so, you know what I'm saying,
Hmm.
like a lot of guys, because like I said, I look at boxing in all aspects. It's great for you. It can physically help you, it can mentally help you, but if you don't do it right and you take too much punishment, it could be harmful to you as
Yeah.
well. So you gotta look at the good and the bad and take it for both sides. So I really think when it comes to professionals and putting their life at risk, they should get compensated well,
Yeah.
and like definitely more than the people that's on the outside looking in. And what happens a lot of times is the people that you know invest into the fighter, they be making a bigger bag than the
Hmm.
fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
It's a complex situation. That's why, like, as you speak to the importance of the team, the picture it gets more clear, right? Because you're in a sport that's dangerous, right? Like you can die in the ring. So you have to be present. You have to be present now. To be thinking about the longevity of the now, that's a hard thing to do. You know, so a lot of fighters are thinking about, I need my money now, I need this now, everything's now, now, now. But the outsider, you know, the person they're leveraging you using you, trying to
Right.
build some sort of financial legacy. It has nothing to do with the boxing. It's
Yeah.
all about the bag off of
Yep.
your back. So it's probably
Right.
like a more of a strategic kind of long-term plan where you're just like now. So
Yeah, the
you
fighter
got to
just
find a team of
yeah.
people that really like fuck with you. You know what
You
I mean?
got to,
If not, because they'll use you
they
and
will.
you'll get CTE out this bit and
Yeah,
you
you want
discarded.
yep, because
Yeah,
that's you're only valuable while you're hot. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Because you're a tool.
yeah, and that's why you see these guys now, like, and you got all these undefeated fighters, cause they protect their oath. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because in the world we live in now, once you lose, you're not as valuable a commodity in the ring. So you got these guys, man. Some of the best fighters, they're great fighters, but they wouldn't be all undefeated if they had to fight like I had to
Yeah,
fight.
they
You
were
know
all
what I'm
fighting
saying?
each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's boxing. Like on any given night you could be great or not. You know what I'm saying? And if you end up with the right competitor, he can expose you. That's what's starting to happen now that they're starting to, make good fights again. For a long time, they was making a lot of overmatched boxing matches and you know what I'm saying? Now they're making good fights again, putting the best in there with best. And you starting to see people come up short sometimes because that's the reality of the sport on any given night. You can be a great or not. That's what makes Mayweather so great, and why I be like the haters just be hating because he always rose to the occasion. That's
Yeah.
really tough to do.
And he took him too. That
Yeah,
bullshit, like maybe he might have fought somebody like Manny later, but we don't know. Maybe Manny was ducking smoke. Who knows? But
bro.
still, when everybody was hot, he was fighting
I
everybody. He
tell
was fighting
people
the
this,
Ricky
bro.
Hatton, the this, to
Yeah,
that, like,
it's funny
and
because
beating the
the
shit out of him.
average casual guy don't know, but everybody he fought was great until
Mm-hmm.
he fought him.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
just he made them look so
Mm-hmm.
ordinary that they wasn't what they was afterwards
Yeah.
because
Marquez,
they
Cotto,
all was
Ricky
top
Hatton, like
dogs.
who?
Yeah, they was
Everybody.
all before he fought Ricky Hatton. Everybody thought he was the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
Real aggressive, real action packed, and Mayweather made it look like a
Sat him
walk in the
down.
park. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he was made. People say he ain't fought this or fought that, but it's just because he was so much better. He was making guys look like they won't much, but they actually were. One of my favorite Mayweather fights. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to be talking about Mayweather.
No,
We
no, go
talking.
ahead. If you're
One of
talking
my
about shit,
favorite
we chopping shit.
Mayweather fights is the Diego Corrales fight, right? Because Diego Corrales was the real deal at the time. If you ever get a chance, check this
Yeah.
fight out, right? He was the real deal, and everybody expected a real tough, a tough fight. And Mayweather was like so on point. He took Diego Corrales and he really just, he dissected him like, I don't know, it was just surgery in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows how great of a fighter he was. And I've seen him do that a lot of times. That just lets me know the levels of the game. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like to
Yeah.
be able
Yeah.
to do that to the best and do it over and over and over again and get better at it and change it. And you know what I'm saying? He's really good at making the adjustments, bro, and doing this thing. That's why I say I got major respect for Mayweather. People used to tell me back in the day when I was a young kid, I kind of looked like him a little bit, fight like him a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? I got major respect for that guy, and I ain't one of the haters. I give him that goat. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because he was the GOAT for me because he did it in and out the ring. You know what I'm saying? That's just respect from another fighter. Any other fighter that know boxing gonna give respect where it's due. So anybody that tell you that Mayweather won't what it was, they a hater.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just don't really understand boxing. Like somebody
Yeah.
that says that, they just like seeing people get punched in the
Yeah,
face and head
yeah.
and
See,
shit, get
people
slugged out.
love people love
Yeah,
fights. They don't
yeah,
love the
yeah,
science. You know what I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying?
That part of it,
They
like the
they
defense.
don't care about you getting punch silly,
Hmm.
they just want to see the back and forth. They don't understand. It's really not meant for that. It's meant to be hit and not be hit. You know what I'm saying? But they think that's boring. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
They think they want to see a brawl for it all. You know what I'm saying? That's also what used to happen to me. Like I could make a fight boring, like because I could make it so you're not gonna hit me. You know what I'm saying? I might not be working, but you're not gonna hit me clean. I'm not gonna let you knock me out. I'm rolling with the punch. I'm getting out of here. I'm moving my feet. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So that's kind of the gift and the curse for a fighter. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That part.
Yeah, they love the brawlers, the knockout guys, but it's love and hate for a guy that can do both. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
They'd rather see you bang.
yeah. I wanted to ask you though, would you consider yourself, were you like a fighter, a boxer, a slugger? You know how they kind of
Yeah, I
put
was
that label?
definitely a boxer. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Cause like I said, my thing was to hit and not be hit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really want to get beat up. I've never. You could ask my wife. My whole boxing career, I've never been beat up. I've never came home with more than maybe a little cut over the eye, a little bit of black eye, or
Mm-hmm.
something like. But I've never been brutally beat up in a fight. I've lost some fights, but never because a guy was beating me up. It was because I didn't do enough. And even when I've been stopped, because I've been stopped in fights, right? But nobody never really stopped me. I don't know if you can understand that, right? But I've never been knocked out. I got on my record where it say
Yeah,
I've
like you've
been
been stopped,
knocked
like the
out,
ref
right?
stopped
Yeah,
you.
but I made a
But
decision.
I
You know
got
what
you.
I'm saying?
Oh, I got.
Like
Oh, I got you. Chose.
nobody ever hit me in the ring and I was out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, I know
I
what you
was
mean. Like
done.
stop, stop.
Yeah,
Like it's a
I've
wrap.
never
I can't
been
go.
beat down where I was stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Every fight I quit in, and I hate that because as a fighter you should never quit.
Mm-hmm.
But every fight I've been stopped in, I quit mentally.
Yeah.
Like not physically, I wasn't hurt or beat up. I just mentally won't prepare for the moment. Like you
Mm-hmm.
know how some
Mm-hmm.
moments can be bigger than
Yeah.
what you prepare for. That happened to me in the James Kirkland fight. James Kirkland was another champion, real good fighter. But I fought him young in his career on ESPN. Another big moment, and that's a moment where I didn't live up to my abilities, you know what I'm saying? And I made a coward decision and I bailed out of the fight, you know what I'm saying? See, it's good and bad sides to every story. That's a fight where I was going through a lot. I was living in Atlanta. I had just moved to Atlanta. I needed the money to get into my apartment. I used to live in this little in-town suite apartment, this little hotel. Me, my wife, and our kids, we was like living there for like a couple months. And the Kirkland fight came along, it was enough for me to get my crib. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, I'll take
You
that.
know what I'm saying? And because of that reason, when I got in the ring, I never was thinking about fighting James Kirkland, who was a really good fighter. And if I'm thinking really the right way, if I win this fight, this changes everything
Mm-hmm.
anyway. I'm not thinking about
Just
it.
in the
Like
now.
I'm thinking about right now, like
Mm-hmm.
yo, I need this check. So I got in the fight and fight bell rung and he came out aggressive. I was boxing and I just all of a sudden took a knee. I didn't really get hit with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I just quit. And that happened to me like 2 or 3 times, and then I was like, I never do it again. I never play myself like that
Mm-hmm.
again. But that was just the mental demons I was going through. Like people will look at that fight because I think that's also a fight that's on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
People will look at that fight and be like, this guy, he can't fight. He did this, you know what I'm saying? But they'll never know what was going on behind the scenes. Like honestly, to me personally, if I really was on my A game, I could beat James Kirkland in a boxing match because he's a slugger. I'm a boxer. So if I maintain my boxing ability, I got a very good chance to keep him from being able to slug and knock me out. You know what I'm saying? But because mentally I wasn't there, I quit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's so important to be mentally stable because really you're not you unless you're mental there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't me. I look at the fight all the time and be like, bro, what was I doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but that's how it be. And I come to that fight because I do like to tell the good and bad side. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had highlights. I also had off nights. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Low lights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of the game, and that was one of them. But I do like to explain the fact, like all of those times when like I said, I never been stopped or knocked out, but you do see those on my record. Anytime I was stopped, it was a personal decision, and I don't think that's a good thing. But I'm honest to my own demons. You know what I'm saying? It was times in life where I wasn't mentally where I am now. So I had to just make the decision that I felt was needed to make at that time. You know what I'm saying? If I could go back, I would take all those times back and always fight like a champion. But it's real life out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I appreciate your honesty and vulnerability. Honestly, just sharing those
Yeah,
moments because I
yeah,
didn't know nothing like that about
yeah,
you. Even
yeah,
when you told me right now, it caught me off
yeah.
guard
That's
because you
that's
don't strike me as
real.
that type of person. But
And
Go ahead.
And I'm not, and
Yeah.
I've never been one to quit on anything,
Yeah.
right?
But you are and we are. Like
Mm-hmm.
we all have that in us. Let me, like
Mm-hmm.
just to pull it together.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you any different than me or
Right.
anyone else. Like
Right. Right.
we all have moments where we felt like we wanted to
Yeah.
quit.
And
And sometimes we're just overcome by that
yeah.
moment because you're a human.
Trust me, man. I in those times when that happened, it took everything in me to do the quitting because that's not me. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? But at the time when it happened, like I just wasn't there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just wasn't there. And at the time it was a split the second decision and boom. And I just go to that because I know that this a post that fight people can see also.
Okay.
I'm not I'm not ashamed of anything I've ever done in the ring. Like when I was younger, I used to be ashamed of like my boxing record and, you know, not being the most successful fighter. But it's a time and a season for everything, right? That might not have been my season, but now as a trainer, I got a whole chance to do this thing over with. I got my son coming up, I got other young fighters coming up, and with the knowledge that I have and the experiences, this could be my season. I might have 3 or 4 championship fighters, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta take the good from the bad, and that's how I look at it. I look at it like now, it took me a long time. Like, it took me a really long
To
time
get here with it.
to get here with
Mm-hmm.
it. I used to like be so ashamed of my boxing history because I know people don't get it
Mm-hmm.
unless they really knew boxing. Like anybody that's a trainer that I came in contact with, spar with, they seen me fight.
Yeah.
Any fan that seen me fight, they know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? I used to be ashamed because they would look at the record and be like, you can't fight, you a bum.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, no, I'm not. It's a lot of politics into what's going on. I can't explain it to you right now, but you know what I'm saying? So I used to feel a type of way, but then I started to think about it, like my circumstances and the level that I fought at. I look at guys that have great records, right? And then I look at their record and they don't even be fought half the type of competition I fought. Like, I'm really a better fighter. Like, everybody I fought was great and everybody you fought was a bum. So just because you look like you're that don't make you that. You know what I'm saying? So I used to be ashamed of it. And it took me a while because I had to really go inside of it and understand that it might just want my time. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the experiences prepare me for this. Cause I used to be all fighter. It took me a long time to adjust to the coach. You know what I'm saying? Cause you be in the gym, you supposed to be coaching, but you want to be the fighter. Well, you're not the fighter no more. You know what I'm saying?
I got
You
you. I
get what
got you.
I'm
The
saying?
transition into
The
okay, okay. That
transition.
makes sense.
So it took me time to get here. You know what I'm saying? I used to feel the type of way to get my confidence right. That's why it took me so long to go into opening a gym and training because I didn't believe I was good enough for a long time. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Absolutely.
the numbers say this.
Yeah.
So it took me time to believe in myself and my abilities and get to the point where I was comfortable with sharing my knowledge to others and feeling like they not going to take me for a joke because I wasn't the 50-0 like Mayweather
Mm-hmm.
or you know what I'm saying, even closer to home, the 30 whatever in something like Danny Garcia. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? People look at records and think boxing. That's why it's so hard as a business person to explain like, okay, my record wasn't this, but guess what? I did experience it on the highest level and I know a lot about what's going on and how to get you there. So that's where I say, yeah, it took me a long time to get over the history of what I went through in boxing, but I also know my story is a lot different from a lot of other fighters. It's probably not too many fighters that got a story like mine, and that's what separates me from other people that's doing this. You know what I'm saying? I really lived this my whole life from 10 years old to now. That's 33 years of boxing experience, good, bad, up and down. You know what I'm saying? So this what I say when people ask me about the record or whatever. It was just an experience. It prepared me to get to here where I am now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think since boxing is like a microcosm of life, all sports and all things, they all kind of intertwine and come together and intersect. I think that the totality of your record just kind of more reflects life's experience,
It
honestly.
really
You
do.
know what I mean?
It
The
really
ups
do.
and downs, the highlights, the
Yeah,
lowlights.
it go
Any
together.
one moment isn't all of who you are.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean? Like
That's it.
shit. I met you at what's his name? Vanda?
Yeah, the
I met
Vanderfire.
you at Vanda. So that's how I know you. I could, wrongfully assume that that's all of who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be inaccurate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you were nice, you can be nice, you had the potential to be nice, but even that moment, that wasn't your ceiling.
That won't
You
it.
know what I mean? I didn't think that personally, and I barely even know you, but I could just tell by the way you're moving around. I'm like, you aren't maxed out.
Nah,
You are far
definitely
from
not.
maxed out.
And believe it or not, I probably never fought my best fight. You believe? You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like
I believe it.
I never.
Absolutely.
I seen. So I used to get called to go to camps. God bless his soul. May he rest in peace. My man Vernon Forrest. He was a really good fighter. Used to
Yeah, I
have.
remember.
Yeah, he used to have wars with Sugar Shane
Yeah, I
Mosley. You
remember.
know, really good fighter. So, I remember getting called to camp with Vernon Forrest, right? And it was one of just part of learning the game, right? So we with Vernon Forrest.
I gotta grab my water real quick.
Yep, go ahead do your thing.
You keep going. Vernon Forest.
I get called to camp with Vernon, and I get flown out to Florida, right? This was just part of going through learning the game. I get flown out to Florida. First day I get there, we in boxing camp. You know what I'm saying? They like you can you spar today? I'm getting paid. This he the champ. I'm like, yeah. So I can spar today. I just got off the plane. Long story short, anyway, he fried me. Yeah, he fried me that first day.
Oh shit, he cooked you.
Yeah, he cooked me.
Yeah.
That's when I knew it was levels. You know what I'm saying? So we went on in camp. I was there for about a month, I believe. Anyway, but throughout camp, I watched week after week people get knocked out and sent home, and I end up being the only person to make it through camp, like make it through the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the camp, whereas he was cooking me, we was back and forth. I ain't gonna say I was frying the champ, So that's
But you
like,
found it.
but I found it, right? So then I knew I was like, okay, so I can fight a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's when I started to see it too, like being at the highest level and competing at the highest level and figuring it out. There was, just a verification to the level of skill I could have and the person I could be, man.
Yeah.
One of those things.
That experience validated it for you.
Yeah, that did it for me because in that moment, like this, he the champion of the world right now. He getting ready to go into the rematch with Sugar Shane Mosley, and he called me, and okay, yeah, he fried me day one, but over a 4 week period, I watch him fry everybody and send everybody home.
Yeah, which is what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, he sent everybody went home, cooked right here, broken rib.
Damn.
I was the only cat that made it through camp, bro. And by the end of the camp, they was showing me love, and you know what I'm saying. It was just
You earned it.
yeah. And yo, he was really that guy. He was about 6 something, and he had a real good jab, straight right hand. He was textbook with it. Like you look at people on TV, then you don't really know how good they are until you have to share the square with them. Yeah, I saw it.
Because you can't tell, even on TV, even as someone like Mayweather, he looks fast, but it's like watching a basketball player and playing with him. The levels, the speed is different. The pull up, you watch somebody, you think, oh, I can block that. No, you can't, dog. He pulling up and shooting over you before you even move.
Yeah, man. People that really reach the peak, it's for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's for a reason because it's a difference at the highest level. It really is. Like I give them that. All those guys. I saw it just from that, and I learned from that. You know what I'm saying? That's why anybody that want to teach a guy to be a fighter, I'm not talking about somebody that's working out or whatever like that. But if you want to teach a guy to be a fighter, you had to spend some intimate time either in the boxing ring or around the boxing ring because it's qualities that you have to have in order to be a fighter, and they're not just there. Like sometimes you gotta build it into a guy. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to this boxing training and what I do now, that's my biggest advantage. I feel like just knowing, like being there, witnessing it, like being in the ring over 100 times. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, like the gym wars is probably worse than in the gym. I'm the best fighter on the block. Like who? If you come to my gym, right? I don't care who you is, world champion, whatever. I'm the best fighter in the gym. You understand? So, like, that's me. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was. I was the gym guy. I've always been a gym rat. Like I stay in the gym. That's why I was able to take the short notice fights.
That thing that you're describing there, it sounds like in places where we feel comfortable is the place where we feel the most
Yeah,
confident, you know?
yeah,
Like
yeah, bro.
and that's within ourselves, even outside of the world. Wherever we feel comfortable, we feel confident, you know?
Hmm.
And if you can build that up in a person, you can make a
Yeah, that's
superhuman.
the truth.
So
I'm
that have
telling
you
you.
ever seen anyone that was when I'm sure it happens, but the skill level was so high that they went to the top even though emotionally they were still, like unbalanced because it seems like you need a lot of all everything to really
Hmm.
become a complete fighter.
Yeah, I've seen some guys make it to the top and I really
It's not like you
didn't
think of
think.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen like is this guy used to be a fighter. His name was Ricardo Mayorga, right? He used to smoke cigarettes
Yeah,
after the
yeah,
fight
yeah.
in the ring.
Everybody knows him.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So you got people like that. It's always
He slapped the
different.
shit out of boy on the
Yeah,
press jump.
it's
Yeah.
different. You got people like that. You got it's just
Yeah, you're right. He was probably a little thrown off. Right? Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
got it just all depends on the person
Yeah.
and what really motivates them, you know what I'm saying?
But still, even that, it seems like to have those slight little things you can't get here. You know what I mean? Like you get here, it seems like I'm sure Mayweather he probably got things
Mhm.
going on outside of his personal life, but you really need all the
You
pieces
really
to
do
come
though.
together,
You do.
and form for
That
you to be up
yeah,
here
well,
looking down at.
that's another thing people don't understand, right? So that's why the discipline
Hmm.
plays such an important role. And that's where most, like you said, most fighters that end up fading, it's because of that.
Hmm.
Like because of the discipline aspect of it. Like that's the part about Mayweather that people don't know. He never was drinking, smoking, he might have
Yeah.
paid for the party, but he ain't party.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he was really a clean living person. Same thing with somebody like you say, well, how could Bernard Hopkins, another local great, right?
Hmm.
How could Bernard Hopkins fight up to 50 and still be at the top of the game? Cause he ain't destroy his body.
Yeah.
He won't on drugs. He won't
Hmm.
smoking and drinking and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See these
Smart
guys,
fighter.
yeah, these guys. See, you can be great and be flawed, but you can't be the greatest and be flawed.
Exactly.
Your discipline gotta be, even if it's just for that moment. Like that's why most fighters go to training camp because they
Mm.
can't do it all the time,
I
right?
got you.
So they take 3 months and then they do it for 3 months.
Mm.
So like that's why you hear about a fight 3 months before it happened because this guy got to get in the camp and he got to put down the liquor and the
Yeah.
whatever he was doing so he can tighten up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the difference between the guys like the Mayweathers, the Hopkins, they never did it. So it was always at the peak performance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's why you see fighters fade away a lot of times because what happens is they start off hungry, right? They start off hungry and grinding and not making a lot of money, and they build their way up, and then they make the money, and lifestyle change. You got a little more money in your pocket, you got a little more freedom. You know, like I love Bronner as a fighter, but I think that's what happened to him. I think he got to the peak, and then everything outside of boxing started playing a role. Like that's where you gotta have the discipline
Hmm.
to know I can't do this or I can't do that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And that's the difference between the guys that be great and the guys that be great but don't get over the pinnacle. You know what I'm saying? Even with me, like I had my own faults that probably stopped me from being the best I could be.
Hmm.
I mean, I ain't gonna say probably. I know. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a point of if you're not. That's why I coach people like I do now. I tell them the truth. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. This not easy in the first place. So if you cutting corners, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially if you want to go there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if
If
you're
you
trying to go
wanna,
there, yeah.
if you wanna make it to the highest level, it ain't no way around it but doing it the right way. You know what I'm saying? You can't cut no corners. You can't. I don't know, man. You just gotta put everything into it, and you still might come up short. You know what I'm saying? You still might come up short. That's how boxing is.
Yeah, yeah. I guess depending on what it is that you want out of it, in that experience, yeah, for sure. Especially like if you're trying to get to a Mayweather, yeah, of course, everyone's gonna come up short because there's only gonna be one person that get there. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because that just goes to show you the work is the work. Like I say
Yeah,
that a lot, but in every aspect, boxing, life, like sports,
it's
your
all
family, you know what I mean? Like you got to put that work in.
you
If
do.
not, that relationship is gonna reflect the work you put in. You
It
know what I mean?
really
It's gonna
is,
be a
bro.
reflection.
It really is. It really is. You know, like that's what I tell the guys that come to the gym. Like, right now that's what I do. I'm a coach, a trainer, and I'm trying to get our gym off the ground. We've been around for a year. And what I tell everybody that comes into my gym, if you're not willing to work, don't come to my gym. Because everybody want to be a great fighter and look great in the ring and this that, but they don't understand that the only way to get to that point is it takes a lot of work. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
The average person come in the gym and they want to look good after a week. They don't even want, like, when I started boxing, I was shadow boxing on a piece of plywood in front of a mirror, throwing jabs and right hands and hooks for like a month or two. I'm talking about I hadn't even put no gloves on yet. They, I'd be like, Coach, can I put the gloves on, hit the bag for what? You don't even know how to throw a jab. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a different aspect now. People come in the gym and you see, I got it's a boxing writer, my man Henry. He a boxing writer in the area. He call them patty cake pad masters, right? You see the guys on social media and they doing all the
Yeah, yeah.
the cute what they call Mayweather pad work.
The
That's
combo shit.
bullshit, bro.
Yeah.
That's like Mayweather don't even hit the pads like that. That's what people don't know. Like when he want to really work the mitts, it's not that. It ain't the
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, because that
so
shit probably ain't even applicable
it's
to a
not
real fight.
applicable
Yeah,
to
yeah.
a fight.
It just looked good.
It's rhythm. Now it's good rhythm and it gets you in rhythm and teaches you how to, you know, shoulder here, shoulder. It gets you understanding the movements,
Yeah.
but it takes a very, very special fighter to be able to react that quick and that sharp all the time. Not even Mayweather can do it at the rate he do it on the mix. Bing, bing, pop, 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 bing, 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 pop, 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 pop. It don't go like that.
Yeah.
So when you're working a person on mix for real, you break it down into what a fight really goes like. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you work on countering back and different things, but you first of all you gotta move your feet. You can't stand in one spot.
True,
You know what
true.
I'm
You're
saying?
right about that.
If you see a guy he working the mix and he don't know how to move, that's a no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's all.
Yeah, it ain't gonna translate. It ain't
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
matter.
So when
Yeah.
guys come into my gym, I tell them like, yo, it's gonna require a lot of hard work and a lot of hard dedication because you know it's like building blocks. You gotta keep coming in, and people want to do something different like every day. Like everybody looking for the next. They see these things on social media. Coach, can we do this? Can we do? Nah, bro, that's just the same thing every day. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just hard work every day, and you gotta do a lot of it. And the more you repeat the cycle, the better you put. The repetition makes you better.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's always the same goal, right? But you put the repetition in, you put layer on top of layer on top of, and then you start to see changes, and then you get stronger, and then you get in better shape, and then you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just a process. But you have most people that think the boxing gym they want to look like people on TV, so they come into the gym and then they work out for a week or two, and then you don't see them no more because they figured out it was actually hard. They thought it was just gonna be, hitting mitts, and that ain't even boxing.
Yeah.
Like
All the sweet shit.
yeah, mitts don't hit back, bags don't hit back. That's what the old trainers used to say, like, cause everybody like to hit the mitts and hit the speed bags, and it sound good, but the old trainers will tell you don't none of that hit back. They don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you could listen to a guy like James Toney, right? James Toney ain't like to do nothing but spar. One of the best fighters in the world. He ain't like to hit the bag. He ain't like to do road work.
Mm.
He did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
But what he really did in the gym was spar. He come in the gym and he spar anybody any day. That's how I was as a young kid. Cause where I come from, boxing wasn't real big, and I was like one of the only kids in the gym. It was some adults, but I was like one of the only kids in the gym. So the way I got my skills was I spar with everybody in the gym all the time. whether they was adults, whatever, whoever was in the gym, whether they was high level, low level, whatever. I was like, that's why I call myself a gym rat. I
Really?
just sparred with everybody. I was 13 sparring with 20-year-olds, and
So you got real comfortable in there. That was
yeah,
like home
yeah,
for you. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's how I
Yeah.
became a good fighter, just from those experiences. Well, I ain't the best fighter, but that's how I got my
You were
skills.
a damn good
I
fighter.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Bro.
But that's how I got my skills, just being in the gym, working with everybody. I tell my son that, like, my son, he's funny because, like, he got this big heart, right? So if he feel like he's way over somebody's head, he won't work with him. I be like, you can work down. You can work
Yeah.
down. You can still use the person to get experience
Yeah.
and work on
There's
different
always
things.
something to gain.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
still, and I be trying to teach him, like, bro, you work with, because that's what I used to do. I work with anybody. I work, if they was real good, I work with them. They was real bad, I work with them. And it taught me how to adjust and make adjustments, you know what I'm saying, and become a better fighter. And it also taught me how to work with people, because you gotta understand, in sparring and in boxing, I tell people this all the time too, right? If you beat up all your sparring partners, who you gonna work with, right? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think my son is a prodigy to me, right? He the best fighter in my gym. I say that and believe in it, right? When he works with guys, I tell him, you gotta work with them and know how to work with them. If you knock all of them out, who you gonna work with? How you gonna get better? They don't want to spar with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
They get in there with you when you knocking them out, cracking them every time. You know what I'm saying? I tell them, you turn up when they turn up. If they turn up, you turn up. Let them know that you a little bit better than them,
Mm-hmm.
and then they turn back down, and you turn back down. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Kind of carry it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tell them like that. Like, you got to know how to work with people so you can get the work, because that's the only way to get better as a fighter. You got to have people to work with you.
Yeah.
You can't beat up everybody. But yeah, when they come in my gym, bro, I let them know this going to be hard work. You're going to have to be dedicated to it, and it's not going to happen overnight. Most of my students have been training with me for years, like at least 2 to 3 years. And then I'm starting to get new people now. Cause the first year that the gym was open, it was just the guys that already knew me. And now we're starting to reach out and make connections with new people, which is what I've been wanting to get established in the area, so people could come by the gym and just see what we're about. Because we a family gym with a family atmosphere. Um, and really all we about is the work. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you want to learn to box, you want to be a fighter, come see me, because like we putting out fighters. I got like 7 registered boxers that's fighting, and that's my goal, to have these guys fighting and fighting for real in the area, and build a pedigree of boxers in this area. Like, I know we got good fighters in Philly and good fighters here and there, but what about right here? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to build a
Plant the
legacy.
flag.
Yeah, yeah, like,
Lansdale. I like
yeah.
that, honestly. I think definitely you could do it. Let me say, I went up to his gym. I don't even remember what day it was, but I just popped up the other day and checked it out. Just kind of fell back, did a little bit of footage too, and the vibe I felt was exactly as described. And you train women too, right?
Yep,
There
I'm
was a
training
young lady
men,
there.
women. Yep.
There's some parents on the side watching. It's a nice, it feels like a grind. It looks like a grind. Let me just try to describe something so they can connect to, kind of like a Rocky-ish vibe to it, just because outside it's a brick building, It's
Yep.
just one black door.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find it. So for one, the thing that I like about it already, if you're interested in it, you got to find a place, right? That means something, I think. It's not like it's just broadcast in your
Yeah.
face. You got to stumble across somebody that's talking about it. For now, at this moment,
Yep.
that's what it is.
I agree
So
with
you
you.
got to come looking for it. You come in this back, and oh, this is where the work's being done. I think there's only a few people going out and looking for the work, and the people that I saw in there, they looked like they was
They
looking to work.
looking.
Like there
They
was a kid in
definitely
there
are.
where I was like, yo, I don't think I want to spar him. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
was like the white kid.
Yeah.
He was like
Yeah. Yeah.
about
That's
a little
Irish
taller than
Mike.
me. He's
Yeah.
probably like
I call him.
probably a little heavier than me.
I
But I'm
call.
like, how old is he?
He's 19 or
Yeah.
20
I'm
years
like,
old.
I'm not sparring
I
him.
call him Irish Mike, right? And it's funny that you say that, right? Because I have to tone him down with
Yeah.
everybody. Like, he's an Irish kid. Him and his little brothers, they like the toughest little kids, bro. And him personally, everything he does it hard, like
Hmm.
100% hard. I be having to tell him, like, bro, you gotta tone it down just a little bit. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody gonna want to work with you. He spars, and when he spars, like, he be banging guys, and it always turn into war, because he only know one gear. You know what
War.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
That one
He
gear.
looked like though from again, I'm just an outsider, a casual loving the technical aspect of it. He looks like you could polish him though. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
looks
he's
like he could,
definitely that.
get some
Yeah,
polishing and he could be
he's definitely
nice,
that.
a
He's
little
one of
light on his
those
feet.
guys that
He's a thunder fist bull.
I think it's his nationality, right? He's so aggressive because like I have like his family comes to me too, like his brothers
Hmm.
and a few of the cousins. So they all have this kind of aggression, right? He's very aggressive, and he's been with me for 2 or 3 years as well. And with him, it's all about teaching him the the taper it, the bottle it up.
Hmm.
Cause what happens with him is, whereas and he could control a guy because he got a lot of reach and height.
Yeah.
Um,
Look like you got a little power too.
yeah, it always becomes a firefight because instead of boxing, he goes straight in with intentions to
Your
kill.
destruction.
Yeah, so even though he's strong, it leaves if you go into that kind of fight, you leave openings.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah, I can see
saying?
that already.
So what happens
You get
is,
caught reaching.
yeah, yeah, and it don't take number one. So
Hmm.
he gotta learn to taper it off and use the jab and box and use all that height he got. But yeah, he's a tough kid though. I
Yeah.
got a lot of tough kids, man, and they're just waiting to get their shot. And like I said, it takes time and the experience. We've been getting the experience in the area. I'm getting the experience as a coach.
What's the fight coming up? Where are you fighting at? Can you say where you
April
fighting at?
26th, we supposed to be in New Jersey, and what is the place in Jersey? I
You
just
could
know
look it
it's in
up
New
if you
Jersey.
want.
Yeah, I
You could look it up right now and say it so that way,
I'm
because
say,
I could just cut the shit.
let me look it up for you real quick.
Oh, while you're doing that though, I'll keep talking. So you think Mike, you called him Irish Mike. You
Uh-huh.
think he connects and identifies with the culture of and the pride of being an Irish fighter?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I saw him
He's
beating on
definitely
that bag. I'm
he's
like, oh
definitely that.
shit. And you know what? As someone that's my age, a 40-year-old person, when I think about sparring, I'm thinking about more of the work. Like I'm not in there trying to fight.
Right,
I'm trying to
right,
get
right,
better in skills.
right,
So me personally, if I, again, he's a young man energy. If I saw anyone that looked like they want to spar like that, I'm probably not even doing it.
right,
Like
right,
just me,
right.
at this age, I'm like, I'm not in there. I'm not doing
Yeah,
that.
it's
You know
gonna
what I
be
mean?
in Rio.
I'm trying to go home to my kid and hug him
Exactly
and
right.
shit, not
It's
like
gonna be in
ice in my fucking eye. And
Rio Grande, New Jersey.
Rio Grande, New
Rio
Jersey.
Grande, New Jersey. I think it's a
What's the
couple.
name of that venue? Do you know?
That I don't know because they
Okay,
gotta send me the
that's cool.
actual.
Well, by the
What's the?
time this comes out, me in a couple days or something, I can
Yeah, I
post it.
have it
I
for
put it.
you.
Yeah, that's cool.
April 26th. Yeah, Rio Grande. I had a
What
venue
time? Do you know
for
what
it.
time it is?
I think it starts at early, like 1 o'clock. I'm gonna give you.
How many people fighting?
So I'm trying. They're trying to put all my guys on. Like I got like 5 guys. I'm trying to get on this card, but
Okay.
I just don't know for sure because I talked to him earlier in the week. Last week he was supposed to hit me right back. Ain't heard from him yet, so I
Mm.
don't know. Sometimes it gets stalled. Sometimes they give you the last minute. So it's
Yeah,
kind
because
of
they probably don't really know
yeah. Right
themselves.
now I
Yeah.
don't have any of the guys booked, but supposedly all 5 of them are gonna fight. But basically, if they don't get booked by this week, it ain't gonna happen because
Okay.
I kind of try to keep the guys with a week ahead. Like I don't like for them to take fights at the last minute because I know what it did to me. So I try to keep them from repeating those same. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like especially like my son. My son, if he know about the fight 3 4 weeks in advance, he ready to go. But if I tell him like with a week or so, his mind not right. He not, you know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
could see that. The
He
pressure of feeling
yeah,
like it's
yeah,
happening now as opposed to
yeah,
being able to
yeah.
prepare for it.
It's like
Yeah,
he
it's like
don't
anything when they throw something on you, like
yeah,
bam.
he don't have the time to prepare
Hmm.
and get where he need to be. So I try to let them have a little enough to like they've known about this fight for a month, but nobody been booked yet. Normally the bookings happen when you know about it. So
Yeah.
I'm still waiting. So we might be fighting April the
Okay.
26th. It's a possibility that we won't if nobody get booked.
Yeah.
So
There's some training going on in there. So before
yeah.
we break, what time is it right now?
2 o'clock.
All right.
Yeah, we made it. We made it, and it
Yeah,
was quick,
yeah,
right?
definitely. What was I about to say though? So I see some clips. We got local gyms and everything. So
Mhm.
I see some clips of the local gyms and the sparring. I would say, for me personally, what my eyes witness, the sparring that's going on in your gym, to me, it appears slightly different than
Mhm.
the clips that's going on in some other gym.
Yeah,
Like there's some boxing. Some
yeah.
boxing.
Well,
There's a crispness. The technique is solid. It
yeah,
look is more grounded in what something that I'd be attracted
right.
to personally.
So my thing with sparring is right because I've been doing this since I was 10 years old, and I did a lot of sparring. When it comes to sparring, that's the essence of the fight, right? That's how you learn to fight. So when you have these guys in there sparring, if you don't have them sparring at a high level, then they're never gonna get it. Like, I mean, I take my guys out to other gyms sometimes, and they sometimes get surprised because it's a difference in pedigree and levels. I call it levels. Um, and what we're trying to do in our gym is so me being a fighter, right? And this is not an insult to anything, but me being a fighter and coming from a fighter background, right? So you have fighters in gyms like in the inner city, like in the Philadelphia
Mm-hmm.
area, tough inner city kids and different stuff. And then you have like suburban gyms, right? So in this area, to me, it was more suburban gyms and they didn't have the city atmosphere, meaning that you come out here and in the city it's dog eat dog. Like when you go in the gym, down some of the gyms I've been at and trained at,
Mm-hmm.
you better be ready to work because if you're not, you're gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, you
You know
get
what I'm saying?
dusted.
Yeah, so out this area, I think it's been a little bit more censored, like not really working at that level.
Mm-hmm.
So in my gym, I try to prepare our guys to fight at that level.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to push them hard, but at the same time I control it and I make sure that they're on an equal playing field. So that's kind of how I do sparring. Like if you're the better fighter, then you work to the level of the fighter that you're working with.
I got you.
If you both on the same level, show me what you got. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. You
Because
gotta
how
trade
else,
up a little bit.
yeah, how else are you gonna become a better fighter if no one pushes you?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys out this area, they don't want to push them because they afraid. Like I get it, parents don't think their kids should get hit in the head, but that's why you train them to not get hit in the head, to defend themselves,
Mm-hmm.
to protect themselves at all times. You know what I'm saying?
You guys wear headgear while you spar?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We a USA boxing registered gym. You can find us on USA Boxing and we registered, we follow all the USA Boxing rules and requirements. We got the certificate in the gym, but we use our headgear, 16-ounce gloves, cup, goon protector, um, hand wraps, mouthpiece. Everything is required to get in the ring. Also required to get in the ring in our gym, you gotta be done put in some training. Like I'm not letting anybody walk in off the street. I don't care how good they are or think they are and get in the ring. Like you gotta train with me for a few months or weeks or whatever it take for me to understand and know that you capable of sparring. So I required it, and then once you meet those requirements, I let you go in there and figure it out. Because if you really want to box, this boxing at its essence is the fighting part. Like you can look great hitting the mitts and hitting the bag and shuttle boxing and all that good stuff, but that's not fighting. That's just preparing you to fight.
Yeah.
And that's one of the struggles I have with teaching the kids, right? Everybody gets so great on hitting mitts and bags and stuff. And then when you see them fight, they look like they still trying to hit the mitts and the bags. It's
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You be
absolutely.
like, man, he can't land no punches, but man, when he hitting them mitts, he look like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to take that and turn it into the fighter. A lot of people still be trying to hit the mitts and they in the ring. So that's why I spar 'em like I do and try to spar 'em at a high level because I'm trying to prepare my guys for what's outside of the gym, not what's inside of the gym. I know what we got, you know what I'm saying? But I also know boxing and I know the levels of really good fighters. So for me, I want my guys to be at the level of the best fighters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I prepare them that way. So when we're sparring, we trying to gain skill and we trying to build blocks. And every time we get in there, I tell them each time you get in there, you should look better than the time before. Everybody have a bad day, but let's not have two, three in a row.
Yeah.
You know
Make
what I'm
each
saying?
rep count.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's why our sparring is a little bit more competitive because like when I first opened the gym, I used to kind of censor it because I knew all of the kids weren't the toughest of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Like that they wasn't ready to bang.
I know what you mean. I'm from the
Yeah.
area. I know what you mean.
So we started going down and sparring guys in Reading. I took my son and four other kids down to Reading. First time we go down there. And I had been telling the kids before this, I was like, yo, it's a difference when you go outside the gym. These guys not going take care of you. They not looking out for. They gonna try to bang you.
Yeah, they ain't your friends.
Yeah, they ain't your friends. And they saw immediately what I was talking about. Like, it's just a difference because some kids just tough anyway. What I'm trying to do is build some tough kids, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody not born to be a fighter. Sometimes it take time to build them. So that's what I'm doing in my gym while the sparring is at that level and why I work on the way I do, because I feel like that's the only way they gonna learn. Like, I've seen so many guys look great doing everything except for sparring, you know what I'm saying? So I try to spar them at a high level and keep them at that level, so when they get ready to fight, they already seen it. Because you don't want to get in the fight and that's the first time you see a real sharp jab or a strong right hand, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to be down experienced it before. Now you prepare for it.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Absolutely. Question for you. So say if you had a window, if you could say like within X amount of years you should see us at, what would that window be?
Man, you know what, man? I don't want to put no limits on myself or, you know, say this or that. All I say is I take it one day at a time. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough business. Truth be told, it's a really tough business. And I'm just grinding day by day. I ain't even looking ahead. All I see is right now. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm in the midst of it and I feel great about it. And I feel like we're growing and, you know, we connecting to the right people such as yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm just grinding one day at a time, and God willing, you know, in 2-3 years, we'll be a household name. You will see some of my fighters, you know, fighting at the highest level. Cause, you know, I see my son in the next year or 2 years making it to the national level of boxing. So for me, if I get my son in a national tournament, man, that'd be a dream for me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
job.
So yeah, so in the next couple of years, man, really, like I said, I just want to be around. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how big or how small, but I want to be here and still working with these young kids, because for me, that's what it's about. Changing the lives of young kids like boxing changed my life. I tell you about my godfather and how he changed my life. That's what I do to these kids, or what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like change their life, give them confidence. They come in there weak and kind of down, and you know, I try to build them up strength wise, build them up mentally, and so they can prepare themselves for what they got to deal with on the day to day. So yeah, when I see this gym, man, in 2 or 3 years, I just want to be around, relevant, and still, you know, teaching guys the art of boxing.
Yeah, I think you answered that perfectly, honestly, because if you focus on the end result, you might be disappointed, but if you focus on the process,
Yeah,
you never be let down.
it's definitely all about the process, man.
Absolutely.
I agree 100%.
Magnificent Clay Boxing, MCB, Martinus Clay.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, sir.
I thank you.
Thanks for coming through.
It's been real, man.
You the guy.
God, man, it
Thank
been
you.
real, man. I appreciate it.